So, yeah, don't go by the topic at the. It's actually lean startup. We'll finish with lean startup. So we are going to talk about product adoption curve. I discussed it earlier. Majority of the things we have already introduced. So today we'll be discussing it further. Value proposition is a bundle of benefit, as you already know. In fact, there was a question also in the class test that a venture offers to its customer for which. Yeah, I got disconnected again. So value proposition is a bundle of benefits that define the superiority of your product, for which customers will come to you and they will not go to the competitors. That is precisely the value proposition. Why your product is product and means the basket of things, like even delivery may be better, even after sales service may be better. Anything that is better for which customer should come to you is part of value proposition. We discussed this, but the cost of repetition, let me just run you through. See, there are various kinds of people in the marketplace. In fact, in this whole class can be divided into some people as innovator kind of customer, some people will be early adopters, some will be early majority, late majority, and there will be some as laggard. I mentioned in the previous class that I know a professor at IIT Kharagpur, just retired. He did not purchase a cell phone so long because he thought buying a cell phone will be irritating, because people will be calling him maybe at the middle of the night, dead of night or something. So there are people who are laggard who will never buy a new product. They are happy with traditional products. Whatever they saw their parents to use, they think that this is the best for them. But there are people who would like to experiment with new products. They're inquisitive. They don't care about aesthetic beauty. So suppose you have a minimum viable prototype which doesn't look nice, but it is just an assembly of components, and somehow it can be operated. Some people will be there to test that and then get the kick of being the first to do experiment. So those are innovator kind of customers. They are highly essential, but at the same time, you should be worried about them. Suppose you get your product validated by an innovator kind of customer. The innovator kind of customers, they do not bother about the aesthetics and many other features. What they bother about is the new feature. So if there is any new feature, they'll say, wow, this is wonderful. This is going to sell like what cake. You just manufacture and sell. I'm going to give you money. So he'll bring his wallet out from his pocket and make payment. But that doesn't mean that an early majority customer will be willing to buy your product. So you have to really get your product validated, not only from early innovators, but also with early adopters, early majority. You may not care about late majority, because they will come much later when the product will go through several rounds of refinement in the process of commercialization. But then you have to be careful that there are some people who are among the early majority. They need validation, many validation. Like say, there are people among us who would like that there are at least 4-star given by say at least 50 people. If it is given by say 3 guys gave 5-star, some people will think that these are all manipulated. So I'm not going to buy this. I'm not going to trust. So if there are 50 people giving 5-star and 100 people giving 4-star, average will be something like 4.6 or something. Then some people will be interested. Those are early majority. Early adopters are also not so much cared about validation and all that. They will look at it. They'll think that okay, there are new features. I think it's going to work. So 1, 2, 3, 4 guys giving some validation, some evaluation should be good enough. But then between early adopters and early majority, this means early majority is very difficult to convince. That is why there is this saying that there is a huge gap and it's almost like a wall. So it is called chasm. So you have to really come up with huge or say innovative strategies to convince these people to surmount this wall. only then you will be successful. Otherwise, many companies actually die here. This is not the value of death, but then a good number of good percentage, maybe almost 50% of the companies who have raised money, lot of money, maybe millions of dollars, they die here because they do not have proper appropriate strategies for them to move forward to convince the early majority. Then come late majority who need more validation, laggard. So let us move forward, crossing the chasm. Early adopters, see, they are technology enthusiasts, so they will be more interested if there are latest technology, something that they do not know, or they read it somewhere and your product has that, they are more interested. They are people of pragmatism. Then they are visionaries, like they think that this is going to be the future of the technology, so I am glad that I got it for the first time, etc., etc. But then you need real strategy, like suppose early uh, early adopters are happy and your sales are going up, it's growing quite well. Now you have to come up with some kind of a story, some kind of a narrative that resonate with the other people, early majority people. So that, like this story of the Huggies. This is the best story I keep repeating. So I don't know whether I have told you. I'll just mention in a minute. Huggies came up with a diaper, baby diaper, and diaper for women. But let us talk about baby diaper. They thought to compete with a market leader who has almost 100% market share, we need real story that will real narrative that will resonate with our right customer. Only then perhaps customers will automatically adopt. We don't have to do much. So what they did is they did enormous market research. Not only market research, they went through the scholarly publishing, and then they found that there is something called body touch. Even for horses, if you are riding a horse on a saddle, you don't connect with the horse so well. If you are riding bare, meaning on the body, you create some kind of a relationship with the horse. That skin to skin touch actually scientifically has been proven to be better, that creates better bond. So they came up with this findings in research journal, published that in the public domain, and then miracle happened. They named their product as Huggies. So mother thought that these are the people who taught me how to create a bond with my baby, how to build my baby's vital at the beginning. So automatically it was kind of resonating the narratives of the mother with the company's product, and nothing really was necessary other than this narrative. Of course, the quality of product has to be good. If you have a nasty product and a wonderful narrative, you will acquire some customers for some time, but eventually they will think these are all rubbish. This company only speak volumes, but they don't really deliver. So this kind of things means here you need a lot of marketing. You need means by this time you should have a brand that is visible. So you should be visible in social media network, and then there are influencer like YouTube video influencer, or maybe there are actually people who can do growth hacking. There is something called growth hack. Growth hack means there are people who know what the customers are looking for. Means how how a new narrative can come up. They can come up with a new narrative, and not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They will come up with hundreds of them, and they will do experiment. They'll come up with something. They will see whether it's really catching the fancy of the people. Within a day or two, they will get to know, because they are data specialists. They know, they can capture data and immediately understand whether this narrative is working or not. So they will come up with multiple narratives, and then somewhere it will hit the chord with the customers, and they'll say yes, this is actually working. So the moment it starts working, they will accentuate that further, and then your product will find the necessary growth. Once there is growth, it is almost like a long jump. It actually surmounts the high wall, meaning maybe a high jump. So your product will jump on the back of this narrative. So you have to really think, you have to have a real strategy like this to cross this chasm. If you are ready, only then you will be successful. If you think that, wow, our growth is going fantastic at the early adopters level, you do not even have an idea what is early adopters. You are just thinking at the growth, at the data. Every morning you see what is the footfall. Wow, 100% growth almost every week. So we have a successful business. Sit back and enjoy the success. Remember, success is not a milestone to be achieved. Success is a continuous thing. As long as the business is there, you have to continuously take care of the growth and then move forward. Every now and then see whether customers are going away from your company. You are acquiring customers, they are buying your products, but they are not coming back repeatedly. So you have to be careful why customers are not coming back repeatedly, why they are going to other competitors for this product. That means they're kind of elusive, or they're not trusting us, or they're not finding whatever they desire to find in our product. So eventually you have to talk to them, or maybe do some market research and understand what went wrong. Only then you can do. So strategy at this point of time is very, very important. Now, I'll not spend a lot of time on some of the things that you can read and understand. See, change is actually happening very fast. Unless you disrupt the status quo. Status quo means whatever is existing at present. Suppose two guys are fighting. One guy gave 5 blows to the other. Another guy gave maybe 10 blows to the other. So they are not equal in the sense they are not labeled. So they are still fighting, because the guy who got many blows, he will continue to think that I'll give him more, so he will continue. But suppose you come in between and then say that, okay, done. Now let me know what the problem is. But for the time being, maintain status quo. That means two guys are standing on your two sides. They cannot cross you, meaning they have to maintain wherever they are. That is called status quo. So you have to really challenge the status quo, meaning whatever is the business that is going on, you have to come in between and then say to your customer, look, these guys, whatever they are offering, this is old and this doesn't solve your pain so well. I have a solution. I have something like called Elixir, or say Panacea. Have you ever heard about Panacea? Panacea, Panacea, perhaps. I'm not very sure about the spelling. I'm very bad at spelling. You might have already noticed through my several mails, even though I take care, but sometimes I don't get time to do that. Whatever that is, Panacea means one pill that cures all the diseases. That's called Panacea. So you come up with that and say that, all your pains are going to be, but be very careful. If you say this is a Panacea, nobody will trust you. But then you have to have something that will actually alleviate the pain, maybe more than your competitors. Only then people will trust you. They will use it and they will see that, wow, even for an incremental benefit of 5%, will create such a kind of a buzz that people will say, yes, this product is 100% better, something like that. People have a tendency to exaggerate. So if they're happy with your behavior, with your customers, with your marketing guys, your promise, etc., they're going to blow up their experience, and then that is another way to cross the chasm. Like say Byju's, Paytm, Trivago, Ola. Trivago, I'm yet to talk about it. I'll talk about it at the appropriate time, because time is very important. So all those actually disrupted the existing way people were doing business, or doing whatever they actually started offering. So that is how they are such a successful entrepreneur, and they rapidly became unicorn, decacorn. Decacorn means $10 billion companies. So things are changing very fast. And customers are demanding, not only customer, even students are demanding new things. Students at IIT, like during our time, we used to see faculty members coming in the class with a chotha that would be something like 25 to 30 years old, meaning it is already torn, and it's very difficult to keep it in one shape. Maybe even we also have so much of limitation. I don't say that I'm a wonderful faculty or anything, but then I understand that we need to modify ourselves on a daily basis and see how things are being taught at Stanford, at MIT, at many other places. I do try my best, but then I don't know how successful I am. Like even today also, before delivering this lecture, I try to collect some content. I'll show you what I have done today. Not much. This shows that Fortune 500 companies who start today, maybe say 2021, their expected life is not even 12 years. Whereas a Fortune 500 company who became Fortune 500 company in 1958, that their average life was 61 years, meaning they will remain Fortune 500 at least for 61 years. That was the case. Not at least, average. But then as we moved forward, in 1964, their life became 33, meaning a new Fortune 500 new company who is entering into Fortune 500, their average life came down to 33 years. Then in 2016, 18 years, 2027 is projected to be only 12 years. Yahoo is a wonderful example. That was Fortune 500 company, meaning that they were one of the companies with the largest turnover, market capitalization, whereas they became such a poor company. Their valuation came down from $125 billion to $5 billion. That too after investing maybe something like $25 billion. On top of $125 billion value, they invested $25 billion only to see their value at $5 billion. That is the case with many companies. And that is, these on my left are the Fortune 500 companies, and on my right are the new Fortune 500 companies. This company on the left has almost extinct, not extinct, but they're no longer Fortune 500 companies. Very quickly, this is a funny stuff. You don't have to remember this data or anything, just to drive home the point how fast we are moving. It took 5 billion years for human civilization to come to be a civilized people, not civilized, but with two legs, walking and then doing something as human being. Then it took 240,000 years for us from being a hunter gatherer to be a agrarian society. 240,000. From 5 billion it became 240,000. Then it took 10,000 years for us to migrate from agrarian to some semblance of industrialization. That is when the industrial revolution started, and it started sometime at the later part of 1700 and something, that is called 18th century, and then it was full blown at the beginning of 20th century, that is 1900 and so. That is hardly 200 years. If I say that it started in 1800, then it is 220 years, something like that. So whatever it may be, maybe it is 250 years. So only 250 years we are industrial society. So whatever you see around you, everything is a matter of 250 years. Before that, nothing was there. So you can imagine how fast things actually. This slide I just started preparing today early in the morning. That is why I have not edited anything. It is just copy pasted, maybe something from Wikipedia, something from Britannica, etc., etc. So I was just trying to show how technology changed over time for you to appreciate that things are really accelerating very fast. There is a saying that the only thing that is constant is change. But what I feel is change also is changing. It actually change is accelerating. So nothing is actually constant. Everything is changing, even the change. So you can see, you don't have to remember this. You don't have to memorize any of the things. I'm dead sure you all know about it. I just wanted to show a timeline as to how our technology, different technologies evolved, and to demonstrate the technology have been changing very fast nowadays. Like if one cell phone came in 1985, the next model came maybe in 1990. Whereas now, if one model is coming in 2001 January, perhaps in 2001 June, there will be another model coming, and it is getting faster because technology is changing. And when this is another, I just wanted to, this was there in the previous lecture, but then it's not arranged in a nice manner and it's not complete. Whatever that is, why I'm saying this is like this, because things are changing so fast. Suppose you have a wonderful idea in your mind. you have a wonderful idea in your mind and you are thinking that good, I have a wonderful idea, someday I will develop it and then someday I'll go to market. The time you will go to market, you will find not only the idea has already been brought to the market by somebody else, but also it is the fact that this idea has become pretty old. Nobody is talking about that idea anymore. So that means you have to really move fast. And you cannot really move fast if you are following the traditional method of product development. You need to follow the lean product development philosophy. Only then you can do things fast. You can reduce your risk of failure and then you can reduce the chance of running out of cash, etc., and you can come up with something very fast. So that is the reason why I have been talking so much about the background. David Chisholm said, more changes occurred in the 20th century alone, only during the 20th century, than all the earlier period of human history, meaning 5 billion years. Whatever happened in 5 billion years, more than that happened in the 20th century. And you add 20th century with 5 billion years, whatever changes happened in the 21st century, already perhaps we have seen that more than that has already happened, and it's going to happen more. God knows what we are going to see tomorrow. Elon Musk is repeatedly saying that he's going to plant a chip in the minds of people, human being, and then there will be no need for physical intervention. One can just directly connect with the computer, type a letter, instruct the computer, do things, etc., whatnot, and then Mars will be populated with this civilization, etc. Okay, so we should be very careful. I have attended many board meetings of big companies, and I have seen one common discussion at the beginning of the meeting. Most of the people, when they start murmuring before the start of the meeting, they say, you know what is happening? We are afraid that some startup or the other is going to take over, and then tomorrow early in the morning when we woke up, we see that our technology is obsolete. I told you about Facebook little red book, whatever is written, that if you don't create what is going to kill Facebook, somebody else at some place is going to create, and then there will be no Facebook. So the same thing is resonated everywhere, reverberates across the corporate world. Everybody thinks that startups are coming up with new ideas. The millennials are full of creative talent, and then they're going to come up with some technology that will make our company irrelevant. That is why they organize all those innovation competitions, so that they know what startups are thinking, so that in the guise of giving them a prize, they get to know whatever they're thinking, so that they can catch them early on by paying hefty money or salary or buy their startups and then remain relevant. That is happening across the world. Even Google also does that. Okay, like I gave an example, Intuzyme, that is a startup from IIT, a spin-off from IIT. And then when they came up with this product, they were fast. They did not wait for graduation. I think Ayush Agrawal is one of them. And then he took my subject after they launched Nimble. Nimble was the product, their product, that is gesture-based communication. But then by the time they were in the market, they found Samsung has already marketed that, not just came out in the market. They just marketed. So the product is already there, and that too with the money of Samsung, kind of. Jack Welch once said the same point. Maybe I am kind of exaggerating maybe a little bit. If the rate of change on the outside, meaning outside the company, exceeds the rate of change on the inside, the end is near. Jack Welch is a famous guy. He was the CEO of General Electric for a pretty long time, 20 years, from 1981 to 2021, 20 years. So he actually transformed General Electric. That is why he's regarded as the godfather of corporate transformation. So whatever he says definitely carries a lot of weight. And Jack Welch said that rate of change within the company has to be higher compared to how the world is changing. So that is why you need to reduce your product development life cycle. And lean product development helps you to do that. Let us move forward. What is contrary to lean product development is the linear method of linear method of product development. Linear means a straight line. You move straight. You gather requirement from customers, that customers need this kind of a product. That is called requirement gathering. Then you come back to the studio and design a product that fulfills those requirements. Then you make a prototype, and then you test the prototype whether this requirement that you have analyzed is fulfilled by this prototype. And then you go to market, you produce commercially a lot of products, and then you market it. When you go to market, you find that customers are buying, then you feel happy that we have a successful products. If the customers are not buying, then you sit back and start feeling frustrated, because you have already spent so much money and you have produced so much product and customers are not buying. Everything is down the drain. This is called this is called linear process of product development. This is also known as waterfall model, meaning waterfall model is one of the linear model. There are many linear model. Waterfall approach is one of the models. Water does not fall upward, or always fall downward. So when you are developing a product, every step moving forward is a downstream process. You never go back. Like when you are designing, you don't go back to requirement analysis. When you make the first prototype, you don't go to customer back and then ask whether you are designing and your design is correct or not, etc., etc. It's a forward process, not a and if you're using a linear process, as I said, you follow these red lines. You develop a product and a lot of time goes, you go for commercialization, only to realize that nothing is happening, and then your sale becomes zero. Contrary to that, this is a lean process where you get your idea validated by customer, your prototype validated by customer, your late prototype, which is almost like a finished product, validated by customers. Only when your customers tell you that yes, this is a product perfect for me and I'm going to pay for it. Many customers, not just 1, 2, 3, and that is done through validated. This is called validated learning, meaning you build you gather, you acquire requirement, then you design, ideate, then design, then take it, means make a minimum viable prototype, go to customer, then customers gives you feedback. Based on feedback, you again design or maybe come up with new ideas, again build a prototype, etc., etc. And the cycle goes on and on until customers are happy, until customer says that yes, now the product looks absolutely okay. And then if you follow that, your sales curve will follow this line, the green line. Okay. Now the top one is the linear model or waterfall model of product development. The bottom one is the lean process of product development. Lean product development has two components. One is agile process or agile framework. Another is lean manufacturing. Agile framework says, agile came from software development. When people started developing software, they used to develop complete software. They do the testing. When the testing is over, they used to go to market and give it to customers to use it. Many customers used to say, no, this is bullshit. You need so much of change. You need to change this, you need to change that, etc., etc. Then they used to come back and see that making those changes is more difficult than developing the software from scratch. So they thought this is not good. You come back from customers after complete development is not a good idea. What you need to do is you need to go to customer at every step so that, coming back and redoing the things become easy. So they came up with this agile framework. Agile framework will do a free, it's called line diagram or something. I don't have the software vocabulary so well. They will do a line diagram and then go to customer. Look, your landing page is going to look like this. Is it okay? There will be a button here, a text box there, a image logo here, etc., etc. They will say we don't like this, we like that, put this slightly away from here, and then you come back. So that customers at least they have agreed that it should be the overall framework should be like this. At the same time, the customer will not complain later that why did you put it here, I don't like, etc. And then again, now you write some code and then you execute the key features of the software. Maybe say whatever, gather data or whatever, connect to the database, and then whatever data they want, then go to the customers again. They will again tell you that I don't like this, I don't like that. Come back, do that. Gradually there will be a time when customer will say yes, this is good, and then there is no going back, because customers said this is good. They have to pay, they have to buy, and you know that once some customers are buying, it is actually fulfilling the overall requirement. So that is what is Agile framework. Build, measure, learn, cycle. Meaning you build the software, not the full software. You build something, then you go to customer, measure their level of satisfaction. So learn from there, come back, again build, again measure, again, etc., etc. What is a lean concept? Lean concept is, the primary concept of lean is reduce the waste wherever possible. Reduce the waste wherever possible. I'll give an example. It came from Japan. After the Second World War, Japan was devastated. There was no way, perhaps no other country would have fought back the way Japanese did. So majority of the present day management concept came from Japan, because their back was on the wall. There was no other way to fight back and become the second largest economy in the world. So like particularly Toyota came up with this lean concept. Lean means reduce waste wherever possible. Suppose you manufacture a pen, and there is a sticker on the pen. Suppose there is a sticker on the pen. You just put the sticker just like that for beauty's sake. Now you go to market and you ask your customer, suppose this sticker is not there on my pen, will you still buy that pen? The customer will say, I don't give a damn on that sticker. Whether it is there or not, I'll definitely buy. And suppose the cost of the sticker is 1 paisa. 1 paisa. Lean philosophy says, even if it is 1 paisa, you just eliminate that, because it does not add value to the customer. Why to unnecessarily add that 1 paisa sticker on that pen? So anything whose absence does not affect the customer's value perception should be eliminated. Anything that is there now, absence of which does not reduce the value perception of the customers, you should get rid of that, because that is causing some cost, and you can actually pass on that cost to the customer, that benefit. Suppose this 1 paisa, now you reduce the price by a paisa, maybe 1 paisa doesn't matter, but suppose you are selling wholesale and you reduce 1 paisa per pen, and per 100 pen it is 1 rupee discount, per 1000 pen it is 10 rupee discount, per 1 lakh pen it is several thousand rupees discount. So 10,000 rupees. So you can see that there is visible benefit given to the customers, and eventually you can actually sell more. So you should know how you can cut costs, not just cutting raw material and features. You can cut process cost, you can cut power cost, anything. Suppose somewhere you are using, like I'll give you a very wonderful example at the cost of time. Narayan Murthy, you are very much familiar. He's the founder of Infosys. One fine morning he woke up and called his co-founder, saying that I was checking the water consumption in our hostel, and I found that water consumption has gone up by 5% this semester. Then he said, what nonsense, 5% water, it can happen because of seasonal variation. Then he said, no, I had all the data of the past 5 years, and this is actually holding all those constant, meaning that there is no influence of seasonal effect on this data. We are actually consuming 5% extra water, and we should be very careful. Then the other guy said, why do you become so finicky about 5% water consumption? It might tantamounts to maybe 1,000 rupees in a month. Forget it. He said, no, that is not the case. You have to be very careful. Whatever we can reduce, we must reduce. And we will find 100 places like this where we can reduce. So if it is 1,000 into 100, it becomes 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh rupees is no joke. In a month, if you can reduce 1 lakh rupees, that translates into lakh rupees. 1 million, 1.2 million rupees. It's a hell lot of money. In our lifetime of the company, we will save $1 billion. So just do that. That should be the mentality of founders. Only that should be that, and only that should be mentality of founders. Of course, you should not spend 5 hours to save 1,000 rupees. Then there is no economy. Economy should be understood, that how much time you are spending. Suppose some guy is sitting idle in your company and he doesn't have a job to do. Give him this assignment. Even if he saves 1,000 rupees, he is giving some output. Otherwise, he is just drawing the salary. There are many people who will have some spare time to do things. So you identify those things and assign this to those people to use their idle time. I will demonstrate, okay, the agile philosophy first. See, I am actively working in micro irrigation with Professor K.N. Tiwari of Agriculture Engineering. We have already filed, unbelievable, we have already filed 5 patents on micro irrigation, and we are going to file another one. This is a product that is just coming up. So what we do, we follow the agile process. How do we do that? First thing is, I come up with an idea, or maybe we come up with idea, even some scholars are also there. We come up with an idea about a new drip emitter, and then we do the 3D print, not 3D print, we do that in SolidWorks or AutoCAD, we do that 3D image, and then we do brainstorming. If this is the image, how it's going to work, etc., etc. We do it ourselves, because Professor Tiwari is a who's who of micro irrigation. So we have an expert, so he will give a lot of input that this is not going to work because of this, that, etc. Then we go back again, refine the design, and then eventually we make our own 3D printing of the components. Then we try to see, means look at that and then understand whether this is going to work or this is not going to work, etc., etc. If that is, we feel that this is going to work or this is not going to work because of this reason, we refine the design again. We refine many times, at least 3-4 times. We use our own 3D printer to design that and come up with some ideas. Then at this level, we actually talk to the molder. Molder gives us wonderful insight that this product cannot be plastic molded. If some design, there are designs that cannot be plastic molded, then there is no point moving forward, because if the molding has 2 components, male, female, if the design has something that will enter inside the mold, you cannot separate the 2 components, then it is no good, meaning you cannot move forward. So unnecessarily don't waste time with those kind of designs. You have to talk to a molder. He will tell you that this can actually be molded. Only then you refine. So earlier we built that and then talked to a molder. He said all those, these corners will get stuck because this is protruding inside. If I have 2 molds, I won't be able to separate. Then I revisited the design and then came up with this, we chamfered it a little bit and this inclined this edge so that it can be, the mold can come out. And then we made these 3D printed components from established vendors. There are machines that makes almost like molded components. These are those components. They are very finished component, and we put it in the real application. You can see the video. ये प्रोफेसर के.एन. तिवारी का voice था, and he could not complete. Whatever he wanted to say is that whatever drippers are there in the marketplace, none of them can match this. This is far better than any of them. Most importantly, this has only one component dripper. Available drippers are of 3 components. They are very complex. The weight of one dripper is 0.94 gram. Whereas available drippers weighs something like 5 to 4.9 grams, something like that, 5 grams, just presume. So you can think what is the material cost, and it is just single component. So clogging will be less because this is only single component. It's a very simple design, etc., etc. So we actually applied the concept of agile design process, and we are almost ready with the finished product. After this experiment, I have done some more refinement because I was not happy. Even though Professor Tiwari told me that this is okay, but I was not happy. I have fine-tuned, and it is again being 3D printed. Today morning, just before the class, I had a discussion. So it's going to come. The lean startup process is you identify the pain point, whatever is customers compelling pain that they want to solve, then come up with a minimum viable product. What is a minimum viable product? This is a product that has only those features that defines your value proposition, meaning whatever feature are superior compared to your competitors product, and something more, so that it becomes a complete product. Only features cannot be tested. It should be a complete product with those features accentuated, so that your customers can validate, use it, and feel the difference, feel the superiority, feel the additional features. That is called as minimum viable prototype. You can read that from here, from any other place. So that helps you to validate your hypothesis. What is, there are two hypotheses. One is value hypothesis, another is growth hypothesis. We'll come to that when I have a slide on that. So we'll check that. Okay, what is value hypothesis? Your value hypothesis is that customer has a pain, and if I design the product like this, that is going to alleviate the pain superior compared to the competitors. That is the value I am going to provide. So it's about value proposition. That is your value hypothesis. The growth hypothesis is there are sufficient number of customers. If I come up with a wonderful product that customers like, I shall have a growth in the business, meaning I can acquire growing number of customers, and that will translate into a sustainable business, a sustainable profitable business. So you try to optimize all of them, and at every stage you gather data and process, etc., and refine. Agile and lean. So I said lean is reducing waste, agile is build, measure, learn, what is that, cycle, feedback loop cycle for understanding. Eric Ries for the first time introduced the term lean startup. So read this book if you have time. At least read the abstract, will be a wonderful idea. So I have some slide about Eric Ries. We'll do that later. First of all, validation is like assessing the possible product market fit. Whatever you are building, whether market is liking it, market is crying for this product. That is what is product market fit. Then validation is early test of your hypothesis. The process, when done early, helps to make faster, informed, and de-risked decision. You de-risk your means whatever design you have done. For validation of early prototype, develop a minimum viable prototype. Just as an example, suppose you are making some education software and you want to start a company. So rather than making a lot of modules for class 1 to class 10, you should actually, if you have a philosophy that the existing available solutions are not good because of this reason, because students are not really understanding for some very special psychological or physical or whatever cognitive things. So you think that I can build something that will not require so much of cognitive skill, and students will remain focused, concentrated, and their learning skill will be faster, etc., etc. So if you think that, don't try to build something from class 1 to class 10, from chemistry, mathematics to physics to anything. You build one module and test whether students are actually more interested in it, and their learning capability, are they learning faster, etc., etc. Only then you decide that yes, we really have something better. Only then you move forward. Okay, this is another example. Nick Swinmurn. This guy is called Nick Swinmurn. He did a lot of things earlier, but then all of a sudden he thought, these businesses are not doing well. I will sell shoe online. I'll sell shoe online. Then most of his friends say, selling shoe online? Are you crazy? Nobody will buy shoe online. We go to shop, we do the trial, maybe 4 or 5 pairs. Only then we buy a shoe. People are not going to buy shoes by size. You say this size is this and it will fit you and people will buy. We don't think so. They want to see many shoes and then try maybe 5. But then Swinmurn thought that let me build a minimum viable prototype to validate my idea. What he did is wonderful. What he did, he gathered picture of many shoes maybe 1,000 shoes from different websites, different shops, not website. That time shoes were not available online, but for shoe companies, they used to show a picture of shoes online. They never used to sell. They just used to show. So he got all the pictures and then he used to move from office to office, showing them that, sir, if you want to buy any of these shoes, I will make these shoes available at your doorstep. Not only that, you can pick and choose at least 3 pairs. Pick and choose 3 pairs. Then I will send you the 3 pair. You will trial that 3 pairs at the comfort of your drawing room. Whichever pair you like, just retain that. Next 2 pairs, I'll collect it at my cost. Don't worry. Only then you make the payment. And then it was a super hit. So people actually saw wonderful pictures. Those kind of models were not available in every store. So you see nice picture, but when you visit the store, you don't find that kind of shoes. Now Swinmar had all the pictures posted on his website, and any picture you can choose, he's going to sell you a pair. Not only that, another 2 pairs. So people are happy. And eventually he sold the company to Amazon for, I think, $1.6 billion or so. I think I may have data. Now there is something called leap of faith. I said hypothesis, growth hypothesis, value hypothesis. There is another thing called leap of faith. There is something called hypothesis. Hypothesis is defined like you have some data, not full data. Now you want to gather more data and then you want to test the hypothesis. Like suppose you hypothesize that people have this pain that is fine. We know that. But they are actually looking for a solution like this, and that will be superior compared to whatever is available. That is your hypothesis. You hypothesize. Now to test your hypothesis, you have to collect data. You have to go to people and ask, I am thinking like this. Do you think the same? If they say yes, you get a data, and then you test the hypothesis. That is called hypothesis. But then there is something called leap of faith, which is not hypothesis. Leap of faith is based on nothing. If there is no data available, if there is nothing that can be relied upon, then if you believe that this is going to happen, that is called leap of faith. I'll give a small example. When Apple came up with iPod, not iPad, they had one hypothesis, another leap of faith. What was the hypothesis? Hypothesis was that people will listen to music on the go. Whenever they are moving here, in the plane, in the train, they will listen to music. Why it was defined as a hypothesis? Because there was Walkman already in the marketplace, and some people were buying Walkman marketed by Sony, and that was kind of okay, selling okay. So this had some data, some validation. That was hypothesis. But there was no data that showed that people will download music online and they will pay for that. That was a leap of faith. And when they came up with that, it was a crashing success. That became the most that became the largest revenue stream for Apple. People actually downloaded music by making payment. So that was a leap of faith which was validated. I'll not go into traditional product development, but then these words are very nice. Epiphany, serendipity, eureka. Epiphany, serendipity is sudden realization. Yes, I got an idea and this is going to solve the problem of the world, something like that. And then you identify, then you build, then you go to market. Rather than doing that, you follow a lean process of product development. You build a prototype, then go to market. This is Eric Ries, who wrote the book, The Lean Startup, How Today's Entrepreneurs Use Continuous Innovation to Create Radically Successful Businesses. This whole thing is the book, title of the book. Now, there are 5 takeaways from the book. I am not covering the book at all. That is not within the scope of this. In fact, I'd like to complete it today itself. I don't want to spill it over to the next class. It has 5 takeaways. One is lean thinking, meaning reduce waste wherever possible. Remotely reduce waste. Shrinking batch size, just-in-time inventory, product management, acceleration of cycle time, etc., you name it. Wherever you can reduce anything, reduce without affecting customer value perception. Measure the progress. Wherever try to validate your learning. Every now and then try to validate. You will be able to measure the success of journey till now. And if it is not successful, go back. Again, redo the whole thing. Productivity. Make things that people like and pay a profitable price and do it fast and economic way. Meaning, whatever people are ready to make payment, of course, they will make payment only if they like, then do it fast and economic way. That is productivity. Build, measure, learn, feedback loop. I think you don't need to need more explanation. So there is another word called pivot. Pivot means you come back and then do it again, either the same thing or maybe a new idea. Charge early is another very important feature. There will be a short question in the next, that what is not among these takeaways from lean startup. So charge early is a significantly important philosophy. Why so? Because if you are building a minimum viable prototype, and if somebody say nice, wonderful, make it and give it, people will buy. Now you tell him, sir, will you buy? He will say, yes. When the product is ready, I'll buy. Now you tell him, will you buy now? Our product is not finished product, but you can pay 50% of the cost and you can buy. Then if they say that, yes, why not? Then you have a validated feedback. If they say that, okay, means I am okay with that, but not just now. I'm not ready right now. That means they are saying just for the sake of saying. Many people say nice things just not to hurt your ego, particularly relatives, parents, friends. They will say nice, even though the bottom of their heart, they may not feel that it is nice. So when somebody is making payment for your product, that is a great validation. That is a real validation. Nobody wants to waste money just to satisfy somebody. And it is not 1, 2, 3, 4. You try to sell maybe 100 at the early stage and charge them not only for right validation or successful validation or validated validation, but also this will augment the rare or scarce cash flow. You are burning cash at this point of time. If some money comes in, that is more than good. So if you can charge early, you are going to sustain for a long time. If you cannot charge early, then you will run out of cash and you won't be able to move forward. Continuation from there. You can transform your company into an innovation factory only if you follow this. Because if you follow the lean startup, lean product development process, your product turnout will be faster. Meaning you start with one product, you will come up with a validated product. And most of the people actually have successfully done that. Then you will promote a culture among the whole employees and a system to think in the lean process, to think out of the box. And most of the people will think, yes, I can do also. I also can come up with something. So what Eric Ries said, you learn, then experiment with two hypotheses. One is value hypothesis, another is growth hypothesis, meaning that you are going to come up with something that will create more value to the customers given the context of competition, present competition, and there are sufficient number of customers for you to grow the business, both hypotheses. Then there should be some leap of faith assumption, meaning that if most of the people are doing whatever you are doing, then there is limited additional incremental value. What you should do is you should have a leap. You should have something that is not there in the marketplace, and that customers will feel wow, and that will be part of an experience. Perhaps experience will be wonderful. So come up with some experience that will be your leap of faith, not 1, 2 or 3 and then try everything. Steer, meaning every now and then you take feedback and then change the course, as if you are driving a car with a steering wheel. Whenever there is a car coming right on the left side or right side, you try to steer this side and that side. Similarly, your process of product development, during the process, you have to steer, meaning you have to take a call whether to move this direction or twist a little bit this way or that way. This I have already discussed. The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. We must always ask, what if User doesn't care about the design in the same way that we do. We are thinking that we are designing something earth-shattering. What if the users are not interested in that? Just a second. Just a second. Let me take the attendance. Otherwise, I will miss that. Yeah, it has come. So I think we are almost done. So pivot.
You are muted.
You are muted.
While I did that, just a second. I just finished that. I want to continue with this again. Oh my God, I got lost. I got totally lost. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so what are the now what kind of data to collect? Actionable, accessible, auditable data, meaning you collect some data like footfall. It doesn't actually matter. If the footfall is increasing and not translating into real purchase, it doesn't matter. So you need actionable data on which you can take action. If the customer is saying that your product so and so feature is not good, that is actionable data. You take it to new design team, and then team will accessible, meaning everybody should have access to the data. Otherwise, there is no point gathering data. Auditable, meaning you can audit the performance of this product and team as to how they are performing, etc., etc. So lean startup is a process of testing your hypothesis. Let me see how many are there. So you need to ask this question whether customers are actually crying for this solution. Would they prefer your solution over existing ones? Would they buy at the price that you are thinking that you can manufacture? How prepared and capable we are to develop the solution, and how soon can we bring it to the market? Lean and Agile, these two combined actually is lean startup. MVP I have already aligned pricing and personas, meaning if the personas are top people, they are interested in the luxury rather than or esteem rather than value, physical value. You have to align that price. Suppose you are targeting the top notch, maybe Mukesh Ambani, then you should price it not at cost plus. You should price like sky high. Suppose you build a pen that cost say 10,000 rupees. It is made of gold, silver, and maybe diamond. So don't price it at 2,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees to 20,000. You should price it 2 lakh. Only then Mukesh Ambani will think that yes, this is a pen that I think I can put it in my pocket. 2 lakh rupees. There is no other pen in the market. So you should understand the persona and then you should price it accordingly. Learn, I have already said. This is a summary. I think we are done. So there are a lot of references. I think should be okay. Thank you so much. I have overstepped by a minute or so.
Sir, I had a question. So can I ask very quickly?